Peace and love, peace and love, peace and love. Welcome to Numeralytics. I am your host, Malinda, also known as Queen Bee. And today we have a very special powerhouse of a guest that will be joining us shortly. But before we get to our guest, you know we have to get our housekeeping out of the way. So let's do that. And to let you know, this show is brought to you by the Unread Book Review with Nick and Rue. This takes place every other Saturday on YouTube at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. You can subscribe at Mr. Westbrook's class, also at Ma Wu Lisa 4610. Okay. This is also brought to you by the Shasu Experience. She is the sound healing architect. Her name is Kanaya Shasu. She is an astro-numerologist. Make sure you are following her on all social media platforms. This is also brought to you by LaPortia Cooper. She's an astro-numerologist. The Soul Card Studio is not here to impress your mind, but rather to awaken your soul. Visit her at soulcardstudio.com and you can receive 50% off of any report that she is running right now through the end of August by using the word decode. Okay. Also, make sure you are tuned in with Big E for the Astro Weather Report. Big E is also running a sale right now on Leo, the Lion birth chart. So make sure you're tuned in with Big E. We did the August Astro-Numerology forecast today. And when we got to the planetary report, you're instructed to go to Big E's channel to tap in with him to get the Astro Weather Report for the weekend and for the month of August. So make sure you are tuned in with him. Also, this is brought to you by Jaz Afrodite Presents, her Numerology Mastery Institute. So this starts August 10th and it's a 4-month course. So we want to make sure that everyone is tuned in with this queen, especially since we have her gracing our presence today with her beauty. I want to just welcome this queen to our stage. She is known as the Empress of Numerology, but her empire street stretches way beyond numbers. Jacquii Leveine, aka Jaz Afrodite, is a former educator and an executive director who walked away from nearly 2 decades in the government to answer a much higher calling. She now guides professionals and entrepreneurs that are seeking spiritual. She now guides professionals, entrepreneurs, and spiritual seekers into their divine timing using numerology, astrology, and cardology. She is an undeniable intuitive gift. She's also the author of Knocking from the Inside, a memoir veiled in numbers, and 2 more titles that blend personal power with ancient wisdom that we will get into during the broadcast. In this episode, we will be diving into her legacy, life cycles, compassionate leadership, and how numbers truly hold the key to our healing. So make sure you are following her on all her social media platforms. And without further ado, I am so pleased and honored to welcome the Empress of Numerology to the Numeralytics and the BTB platform. Welcome, Jaz. Thank you for being here.
Welcome. Thank you so much, Queen Bee. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so honored to be here as a guest. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm really honored to have you here. I think you are a brilliant woman. Um, I think you have done a lot in your career, and we're very thankful and grateful for you. So we really want to welcome you to Numbers Matter and know that Queen's up to you. You know, we know that you understand your power, your position, and your purpose. And now you're here to help others understand their power and their position and their purpose. So we're so grateful to you for that.
Thank you. Queen's up to you too.
Thank you. Thank you. So let's dive right into it, Jaz, because you're such a multifaceted person. So I want to make sure we cover as much as we
Yeah,
can.
got a
And
lot.
those in the audience, we want to thank you for joining us. And if you have read any of Jaz's books or took a course with Jaz, please leave a memo in the audience and let us know how you know Jaz. And if you have any questions about anything for her, please make sure you put them in the audience.
Mhm.
So, Jaz, you spent over 17 years working in education and government. What called you out of that mundane physical life into the spiritual realm of higher healing art forms of numerology, astrology, and cardology?
Oof, yeah, that's a big one coming out the gate. So
Yes.
you said 17 years in the Department of Education, working in technology, doing a lot of online learning. I think the final straw for me was the job that I was doing. I was an executive director, but I was in charge of opening schools, closing schools, consolidating schools. And that job just wears on the soul. So you're going into community hearings at 7 o'clock at night and you're hearing parents and children crying because their schools are going to be shut down, community
Mm.
is going to be merged. You have one school in Bed-Stuy and another school in Brownsville coming together, even though they're in the same district, they're in different geographical locations. And they're talking about putting those students together without really considering gang warfare and all of that. And I was like, this is not for me. I'm in these meetings, I'm advocating for the community. Meanwhile, the Department of Education is looking at me like, you represent us. Like, you're supposed to be advocating for our interests. And I'm like, nah, this is not where I need to be. And so I just stepped out on faith. Like, I was like, it's this time for me to go. I said, I'm going to go to Brazil and sit on this hill, on this mountain, and write my story. And that's exactly what I did after 17 years.
I think that's amazing. And I think, Jazz, that testimony gives hope to a lot of people, because a lot of us are still stuck in that mundane world of, whether it's the government or wherever they work, right? And they're in that matrix of, in that rat race of going to work and really just kind of going with the flow. And I think it's brilliant that you have stepped out on faith and really just believed in yourself and betted on yourself. Now, let me ask you, what year was that when you stepped out on faith?
That was
It,
2018.
18. That was a two universal year.
Yep.
So, was that a two universal year or
Uh,
11?
11.
11. So that makes sense that you would step out on faith in an 11 universal year. Of course, that's a year we know where high ideals might be coming to you, spiritual downloads, and also you are a life path 11. So that would have been a significant year for you as well.
It was. It was a very significant year for me. And I had started using the numbers with my team, and we were doing our life path number because that's the entryway for everybody, the life path number. And so we were sitting there and working things out, and I would show them things about the numbers. And I started using it to see like how we all got along, not really fully understanding the importance of the birthday number, but just based on the life path. And we were like, wow, this is really so important in terms of how we interact with each other. And so looking at that,
Mhm.
like I would spend hours at the desk. Like my work was so mundane. Like I already had everything set. Like there was a rhythm to how I did things. So it wouldn't take me
Mhm.
long to get my work done. So I would
Mhm.
sit at my desk working out charts and looking at the cards, looking at Cardology. At the time, it was Destiny numbers because we were under Robert Camp and looking at his books and just all day long creating spreadsheets, breaking down the numbers, breaking down the cards. And they'd be like, Jack, you at it again? Yes, I am. And that would be my motivation for work. I would just go into work and work in metaphysics all day long. And so,
You see me over here cheesing so hard because, through you saying that, I hear a lot of what I'm doing now and what you did. I kind of find myself doing that. And it's really funny because, um, you know, like you said, the work is so mundane and like people like yourself who are brilliant people, want, especially when we do that kind of work, it is really a routine because a lot of what they do there is just routine. It's policy. You just have to follow this and follow that.
exactly.
So for someone that is a brilliant genius, that's like the work is you can do it with your eyes closed,
Exactly.
right? So you do it with your eyes closed. So then that also contributes to a feeling of being unfulfilled in your soul because you're like, like I'm just here doing this. I'm wasting my time. So I think it's brilliant that you found, numerology and you were just like, working on spreadsheets at work because I literally do the same thing. I just go in, I'm like, okay, let me get my reports out, and then let me go do this chart, where I'm going to do this or do that, and it
Exactly.
really keeps you motivated.
It does. And we're both 20. So that's the stuff that keeps our brain going. Like we look forward to things like that. Like, let me break down these numbers. Like numbers and spreadsheets are exciting for us. So I can definitely see you doing the same thing. From the time that you told me you work on spreadsheets, I'm like, yep, she's doing her numbers at the desk too.
Yes, yes, I am. Yes, I am. And it's so funny because if anyone texts me or anything and they like ask me something, I'll stop everything that I'm doing and like go break that down. Or like even if there's an idea that I have for a show, like I'll just start doing the work on it,
Mm-hmm.
in the background. And I'm just like, let me just get some of this out. And then that's just how it's just how I operate now. I could go back and like, when I'm ready to go through with it, I'm like, I already got this done, so
Yep. Got the
very cool.
framework already set.
Yes, the framework is already set. So that's very awesome. So let's talk about now you crowning yourself the Empress of Numerology, and rightfully so.
Thank
So
you.
tell us, what does that title represent for you, and how does it shape the way that you serve others through your work?
So I call myself the Empress of Numerology because there was like a big mix up with the word queen. Like looking at the etymology of words, I'm really big into words. People were
Hmm.
saying that queen in its original state, and I think it's the spelling Quean, was referring to women who were considered to be prostitutes.
Prostitutes. Yes. I'm glad you said that. Go ahead, Queen.
And I'm like, I don't know if I want to associate with that. I don't even know if I want to have this debate with people. Like, no, it's really the spelling that's Ean, not Een. And so I said, let me just separate myself. And then Empress, I liked Empress because if you're dealing with tarot, that's the third card. Empress, they are fertile. They're creating. They're bringing things from the womb. As you showed with my album earlier, I have a title. It's called Woman of Words of a Woman of Words. That's what it is. It's so long I haven't even looked at this album. Woman of words. So I spell it with the womb on purpose because it has that B in there. And so I always want to make sure that it's being birthed like the Empress. And so for me, it's all about teaching people how to use the numbers, and not just teaching them how to use the numbers, but how to find their unique voice and expression and to bring it out in a way that only they can. Because there's so many of us doing this. And I don't have a problem with that because there's so many people in the world, and we all have our communities and people who we're going to touch in our travels in life, but I'm really about the individual voice. And so when I'm teaching people, I really want people to have their own unique spin and the different ways that they come at it. And so how are we birthing something new with this? So there's so many empresses out here who are practicing like yourself, and others who are yet to come. And so just spreading the word of the empresses of numerology. It doesn't just have to be one.
Well, I think that's beautiful. I think that's a beautiful way to look at it. And I'm glad you brought that up, because that just lets me know that, I mean, you're so thorough, and it's not that it was ever any question, but that I am familiar with that connotation of the word queen. And what I chose to do with myself, calling myself Queen Bee, I chose to embrace my familial ancestral lineage to the word queen,
Hmm.
because my second great grandmother's name was Queen. That was actually her first name.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yes. So doing my genealogy, I found that out, and I thought that was so fascinating to me. And I was like, wow, that's probably why I really resonated with the word queen. And really not knowing, all those 10 years ago when I made Queens Up and Kings Up, right? I didn't know that then. I learned that after that journey. So it's just a testament to how these numbers and vibrations work, and how
Hmm.
they work in our life whether we want them to or not,
Hmm.
guys. So that's why it's so important for us to be in tune with this stuff, because like it works whether we want it to or not. Is that right, Jazz?
I agree. And not only does it work whether it wants to or not, it got you in touch with your ancestors. Like for you to do the research and recognize that that's your grandmother's or great grandmother's name, Queen, like that's powerful. So we
Yeah.
often neglect our connection to our ancestors without realizing that they are our first line of defense. So without them, we can't defeat anything or anybody. So the ancestors, especially the divine feminine ancestors, are definitely rising up now and stating
Hmm.
it's important for us, especially as women, to come through and to push these sciences and healing arts forward. So that's what's up.
Absolutely, absolutely, Queen. So now let me ask you a little, because your practice, you blend numerology, astrology, and cardology.
Mhm.
How do you decide which modality to lead with when you're working with a client, or do the numbers speak to you first?
Numbers always speak to me first. The numbers tell me everything I need to know. And then the cards just confirm what the numbers have
Okay.
already said. Like I've seen people online saying that cardology is the truest form of divination. Like it shows you everything. Like, and I'm like, I disagree because now that I know all of them, I'm like, numerology, if you don't know the basics of the numbers and how they operate and what it means in its truest and purest form, I
Hmm.
really have an appreciation for anything else. Like cardology is great. It has its different meanings, but oftentimes I'm using my knowledge of the numbers to break things down. And so the numbers give me that foundation. It shows me what's happening in a person's life. It may not always show me who, but my intuition will tell me. My intuition will speak. And because we're working with the numbers, they start to tell you stories. Again, the spirits and the ancestors speak through the numbers. However it is that they see you're using these arts, they speak through it. And so they'll show you things. And so you
Mhm.
can fill in the gaps with anything as long as you have the numbers as your basics, because astrology is tied to the numbers. Cardology is tied to the numbers. And so numerology, I think everybody should have their foot in the door with the numbers first. How have you
Mhm.
experienced it when you do your breakdowns?
Say that again, Jazz.
How
Say the last part
have
again.
you experienced it in terms of do you use astrology first, numerology? How do you, or even the cards?
So for me, it's always numerology first.
Hmm.
To me, numerology is, like you said, is key to me. It's king when it comes to the sciences as I understand them. As far as cardology, I'm not as well versed in cardology as I'd like to be.
Yet.
Um, but yet, correct, yet. So I think, the numbers, like you said, it's nothing like having that core understanding of those frequencies, and the positive, the negative, and then also destructive forces that those frequencies can bring and how they can show up in your life. So to me, it's always the numbers first, always numbers first, so that numbers matter.
Absolutely. Numbers
Yeah,
matter.
numbers matter. So let me ask you, Jazz, and this question is going to lead into us talking about the book.
Okay.
What ways has numerology and cardology impacted your own life and your own spiritual evolution throughout these years?
Mm,
And just so you know, like I said, it's going to lead into the book, so you know where I'm going.
yeah, I do.
Mhm.
So it's interesting. Numerology, well, my girlfriends put me on to numerology first, and it's
What
interesting.
year was this? What year was that?
2015.
Okay.
One of them started even earlier than that. It was like 2009. That's
Mhm.
this Tisha. And she was with my brother at the time, and she was putting me on to a coach called Power Coach Martin. He changes his name all the time. So I don't know what he's calling himself today, but
Does he do that based on trying to get the vibration of what he's trying to
on
do?
exactly whatever he wants to manifest, he changes his name based on that so that he can become that vibration. And so
Great.
she put me on to him, and he told me about the spelling of my name and how when I changed it from Jacqueline to Jacquie, it kind of altered the course of my life. And he wanted to be my coach, and at the time I wasn't really taking it seriously, so I was like, whatever. But then years later, another girlfriend of mine, Maleo, same coach, Power Coach Martin, was her teacher. She
Mhm.
started introducing it to me, and I used to have a lot of girl gatherings at my house. I would bring all my girls from all
Yes.
walks of life, and she came through and she did a lesson with us, and that really opened my eyes. Like, all right, I think at that time I was starting my seven pinnacle lesson, and so I was more amenable to it and open to it.
Mhm.
And so it changed my life because it started to show me patterns and show me how people were coming in and the role that they played, and that everything was already written. I think that's the most profound thing, that everything is already written. And so when you
Mhm.
hear rappers like Nas say it was written, and you're like, all right, so what does that mean in practical sense? That's what it means. When you look at
Mhm.
sciences, it was written. So it's just a matter
Mhm.
of who represents these energies. And so as we speak about with the cardology, everybody has a birth card and you're seeing, well, who's challenging me, who's supporting me. It's already written, but it's just a matter of who's embodying these energies that's coming through. And are you seeing the patterns in these lessons? And if not, you're going to keep repeating it. And so if you heed the lesson and understand the frequency and vibration behind it, then you can say, I understand how to work with this. I understand how to master this energy. And then you can get out of that loop and move on to the next lesson, because you're always going to have a lesson when it comes to these sciences. You're never going to be lesson free, but at least
Right.
you have an understanding of how to navigate. So I think that's the biggest part, without giving away too much from the book before we get into it. But that's, I think, how it affected my life.
Yeah. So that's great. I love that. So now let's get into the book,
Yeah.
because your memoir. So let me grab it so I can show everybody the
I'm
book.
happy
So
to.
this is the book. This is the book. Let me make sure everybody can see good. Yep. So we're up here. We're twinning. We're twinning here. You got the hard
Got
card.
the hard copy. Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking on your site. I'm like, oh, there's a hard. I'm like, I want to get that hard copy, so I'm gonna purchase the hard
I'll
copy too.
save you one.
Good, thank you. So I have the book here. First of all, the book is beautiful.
Thank you.
So before I ask you about the book, let me ask you, I mean, I know probably the answer to this, just knowing you, your numbers and everything, but talk about your aesthetic and how you kind of pick out these vivid like covers and all of your vivid imagery in your numerology books, very vivid imagery, vivid charts. Talk about your creative process a
Mm,
little bit first about how you come together with these photos.
that's a powerful question. So I'm kind of whimsical with it. Like I don't sit and plan my things. I just let the universe point me in directions, but I'm very purposeful about what I'm doing. So I knew that the numbers had to be represented on the cover somehow. And I
Mhm,
found this image with this girl and the clock. And I'm like, this is powerful. It has the clock, it has the numbers, it has her eye. And I'm like, this is good. So now that I have all of this in one image, I just replaced the pupil of her eye with another woman knocking from the inside because the eye is the window to the soul. And I wanted that
mhm,
to be expressed. Like a lot of us have the true being inside of ourselves that's dying to come out. Similar to the conversation that we started with, working with the mundane job and wanting to break free of that. Who are you on the inside, and are you allowing that person to really express him or herself in the authentic way? And so I wanted that to be represented. And then I wanted the moon, the letters of it knocking from the inside to represent the moon and the glowing of the moon. And so I was
mhm,
very specific with the artist. Like, I want this text, I want this font, I want it to look like this, I want it to glow like this. Then with the publisher, the eye must be glassy, like it has to look like a real eye. And then with
mhm,
the cover, it needs to be smooth. For the paperback and for the hardcover, it needs to feel like sand underneath my hand on the hardcover. So I just was really purposeful about it because it has to heal, not just when you're reading it, but also when you're touching it. So you must feel like you're being soothed as you're going through the full process. So it's really like a sensory experience. And as a Taurus, everything has to feel right. It has to taste right. It has to look right. So yeah, I was very purposeful. And for all my books, I'm the same thing.
and I think that's, attributes also to you being that number two, and really being detailed and meticulous about how you want things. You have a great vision, especially being a light path 11, you're very visionary.
Thank you.
So you know how you want to see your stuff. And I think it's very powerful when you know what you want and you can also profess what you want. Because some of us might know what we want, but we might not always know the best way to say what it is that we want. So I think that's brilliant that you're able to do that. And
Thank
yeah, just really beautiful imagery on your covers and your charts.
thank
Very technologically advanced, I'll say. And I guess that would be a tribute to your
you.
education
Mm-hmm.
with going to technology mastery. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you have like a master's degree in I don't want to call it the wrong thing in
It's
technological sciences.
yeah, instructional technology from Columbia. It's interesting you say that. Thank you so much for that too.
Mhm,
But it's interesting that you point that out. Even though I have this elaborate degree from Columbia University, it's Teachers College, I only had one class that really focused on the technology, and it was taught by a Black woman. And she was like, listen, every week you come in, she's my mentor now. Shout out to Shauna Bouchel, Dr. Shauna Bouchel.
Queens up,
Queens up
Dr. Shauna.
out in Cali now. But she would have a class and she'd be like, I want you to design a lesson for every grade. Here's the software. Buy the software. Here's the book. Go and learn it. And it has to be done in a week. And that's the way she taught it. She was not teaching you anything. Like, this is the
Mhm,
outcome. This is what I want to see. Represent these standards. Get it done. And so with that one class of having to learn everything on my own, like that just became the practice. So I got addicted to buying books and teaching myself technology. So when I started teaching first, because I started out teaching in the Department of Ed before I got into being executive director, I moved up the ranks pretty quickly, but I taught for like 5 years, two of them in the classroom and the other three as a staff developer. My stress relief would be coming home and teaching myself technology tools.
mhm.
When those kids would get on my nerves, those children rather would get on my nerves, I would come home and sit in front of an Excel manual and teach myself Excel.
Wow. That's something to be said because Excel is somewhat of a monster, especially, if people aren't familiar with it. And there's a lot to learn in Excel. I mean, there's so many different things you can do, and you really have mastered it. I really love the way that you put your presentations together, like when you're on filling in for Lloyd and you have all your nice PowerPoints and all that. I'm like, I'm gonna end up taking a mastery course with Jazz. I'm pretty savvy with it, I'm okay with it, but I think, there's room for me to take it to the next level. So, I kudos to you. It's really brilliant work. Everything that you touch really ends up turning into gold. And
Thank
it's
you.
really brilliant.
Thank you so much, Queen. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's talk about the memoir a little bit. So let me ask, okay, so knocking from the inside, a memoir veiled in numbers. So, okay, what inspired you to tell this story through the
Mm.
lens of numbers? And what does veiled in numbers really mean?
Okay, so what inspired me to tell the story is I wanted to get to the singing. And so I got a reading from my girlfriend's uncle. And he was like, you're going to blow up, your album's going to blow up, your music is going to blow up after you write your book. And I'm like, what? I got no time to write no book. Like, I got things to do, like write a
Right.
book. And he was like, if you have so much knowledge and this gift to share with people, why wouldn't you share it with them? And when he said that, that was so powerful. And so as soon as he said that, I knew that I had to write something that was meaningful. And I'm like, okay, so what do I write? And he's like, well, Spirit is telling me to tell you, write from the heart. And that's all he had to say. Because I had so much that was weighing heavily on my heart. And as a jazz singer, we tend to throw ourselves into music that is kind of bittersweet and for me, very sad. And so people would always ask me, like, why do you sing these kind of music? Or why do you sing these sad songs? And I'm like, because I got too many stories and I can't even put them all in a song for you. Like I would write the lyrics to my songs, but I can't explain the full story. So I said, this is the opportunity for me to explain it in a book. And so that's what I did. Is I wrote the whole thing in a book and I told the absolute truth. Nothing is embellished in this book.
So, oh my God. So, all right, guys, if you first of all, let me put it up here again. If you guys don't have this book, get the book. You don't have to be a numerology expert to read this book whatsoever.
Nope,
Whatsoever, okay? You just have to be a person who can read.
that's it.
And when you pick this book up, and I'm going to tell you this, I read this book. Well, it would have been in less than a week if I didn't have some other things to do in between. And I was mad at myself because I told Jazz this story before. When I first picked it up to start reading, I was so intrigued by this book. And I'm a tough audience. Like I tend to be a little bit of a tough audience.
Mhm.
So if something's not like interesting enough for me, I'll put it down because I'm like, it has to captivate my interest.
Right.
I was so enthralled in this book. Just everything about it. So the words that you use, the way that you put the words together, the way that the way that you outline the book going through your personal years. I just think the whole thing was just such a brilliant way to tell a story.
Thank you.
And I also want to say that what you've done, Jazz, I don't know how many fours you have associated with you, but you are very visionary. You are very much outside of the box.
Thank you.
Um, you are progressive. And the way that you told this story, Jazz, I can see the future numerologist or whomever telling stories this way through a lens like this.
Mm.
Um, you've already inspired people to do this. So I just want to say that it was brilliant. So when did you come up with the concept to say, I'm going to write this through the lens of my personal year span?
I love that. Thank you. I gotta come on your show more often because you just filling me with so much love tonight. Thank you. But
You deserve it, Queen. That's what we do. We give flowers here when we can still smell them. That's
thank
the
you so
important
much,
part.
Queen. Thank you.
But go
So
ahead.
I got the idea because I said I have to write it over 7 years. And so I said, people are gonna ask me why I chose 7 years. And I had to be thoughtful about it. So I'm in Brazil and I'm like, why would I say 7 years? And so the word pinnacles came to me. And I was like, the pinnacle cycles. And when I went back to the pinnacle cycles, it was 9 years for at least for the second and third cycles. And I'm like, all
Mhm.
right, I'll write it over a 9 year period. And then the 9 year period had to be represented by the personal years. And so if you're not familiar with what the pinnacle cycles are the heavy lessons and challenges that we have to learn. It's written on our life path number. And so when we look at our birthday, month, and year, we add those together, we get our life path number. And most of us already know what our life path number is. But in order for us to achieve that life path number, because it's really what we're here to learn, people think that we already are our life path number. We're here to learn that over the full course of our lives. It really
Mhm.
takes like 81 years for you to master your life path. But the
Mm.
pinnacle lessons and challenges teach you how to get to that life path number. And so it was important for me to represent that pinnacle lesson, which was a 7, understanding my
Mhm.
spirituality and solitude and wanting to meditate and get to the core of who I am. And my challenge was a 3, singing,
Mm.
expressing myself authentically, but still being afraid to do that because of the criticism, of this negative self talk, the low self esteem, all those things that prevent us from being who we truly are. And so
Mhm.
I had to explore those lessons by breaking down what happened every single year within those 9 years. And the best way to do that was looking at the personal year number. And I wanted to do the personal year number to show people that everything that happened in that year mapped back to the number. So when it says it's written, it is truly written. So I'm not lying about this. The numbers are saying this is going to happen this year. And it sure did. And so when I saw that, I was like, it just blew the lid open for me. Like, wow, like this is powerful. Like, we have to back up our lives with spiritual proof, spiritual forensic sciences. Like it is proven right here. The numbers say it. And so that's the best way I could explain that. Numbers.
Yeah, I mean, it's really something to say, and it was really just a brilliant, like I said, progressive way to approach writing a book. I think that was a part of what kept my interest captivated because I really just was like, well, let me see what happens when she gets to the next year, and
Mm.
not just that, just like the juiciness of the story, the rawness of the truthfulness. Excuse me, look at me
You're
slobbering,
salivating like it was so raw.
salivating too much. Look, all this water up here on the stage, right? Um, so just really the truthfulness, the rawness, and really hats off to you for that.
Thank you.
Some people will want to write things, but they won't want to really divulge the whole truth, right?
Mm-hmm.
They want to cover up certain things and
Clean it
hide
up,
certain things.
look
You
pretty.
didn't do that, Jazz. It didn't matter if anyone if it was something that might be embarrassing or whatever. Um, you told the truth about it.
I
So
did.
kudos to you. Where did you find the strength to do that?
Because I'm of that ilk. If you're gonna tell the story, tell the whole story and don't leave anything out and don't try to make yourself look good because we are all
Mhm.
here learning something. And so a lot of
Yeah.
people look at me and they're like, oh, she's so well put together, she's so polished. But yeah, I got a lot of shit with me. And I'm
Mhm.
from Brooklyn. Like we're just raw with it. Like we live, we talk. I spent my summers on the porch snapping, like we would just go back and forth, snapping on each other all day. Like
Mhm.
we are rough and tumble. My family is from the Caribbean. We speak very plainly. Like we just say what it is. And so my thing is if
Mhm.
you're gonna tell your story, tell the truth and don't waste people's time. Because
Right.
otherwise you have people believe in something and trying to live up to a fallacy. No, I want you to see the flaws and how you overcome them. I want you to
Mhm.
see that I am not a perfect woman. I have done some dirt, but I'm making up for it here. And so a lot of people, a lot of my girlfriends who were reading it, they're like, oh, well, it triggered me. And they put it down. And I'm like, see, well, you don't want to learn. You don't want to get past the triggering because it's supposed to trigger you. And then you're going to get to the arc where you get to the healing. And so that's what I'm purposeful about doing that. Yes, they're gonna have parts that's gonna trigger you and show you some things about yourself that you may not like. But then it
Mhm.
gets to the healing, like you know what, there's redemption and there's acceptance in this because all of that, as I wrote in the book, makes us beautifully flawed. Like we're gonna do some things, but that's what we're here to do. This is our plan.
Yeah.
You have to work it out and fix it.
And how else will we learn, number one? And how else would we get to where we are right now if we didn't have those experiences? Like, I think people fail to realize whether your past experiences were negative, embarrassing, you did things you're not proud of, all of us have. But if you didn't do those things, and you wouldn't be the person you are now. So they're a part of your journey.
Exactly. Exactly. And the people that we meet are part of our journeys, and everybody's not going to be the intellect or the 9 to 5 businessman or woman. Some people are from the streets and they make
Right.
life so colorful and so interesting. And everybody has their own unique story and they add their own unique flavor to it. And so it was nice bringing in all the characters and my friends and my family and
I
tell
loved
their
it.
sides. And it was like, and what I love most about telling the truth is that none of my friends who read it said I lied. Everybody who read
Mhm.
the book from my family and friendship circle, they were like, yep, you told the absolute truth. I remember it. It was there. In fact, I sent chapters to my cousin when I came back from Brazil, like, read this and just keep me honest. And she was like, yeah, this is the truth. Like, you captured everything clearly. And then my father came through, and when he passed, he was,
May he rest in peace.
yes, rest in peace for sure. He was
Mhm.
never coming to me. And I'm like, he doesn't come to me in dreams. And I don't understand why he's not communicating with me. It's after I wrote that book, he started communicating with me in dreams. And he came and he's like, I'm proud of you. Everything you wrote in that book was the absolute truth, even what you wrote about me,
About him,
about
about
him.
him. And what you wrote about your father was so powerful, Jazz. And I cried a little. Well, I'm a crier, but I cried a little when I read that part, because it was so beautiful and raw. And us, um, our community, we don't always have the best relationships with our fathers and stuff like that. So I think it was really raw for you, and I think it was powerful for you to say, "Hey, my he did this to himself. He did this to himself, and you were mad at him for that."
I was mad for a
Yeah,
long time.
as you should be. you know, as you should be. So let me backtrack a little bit because
Yeah.
a couple things we've said, and I didn't fail to mention what I wanted to say. So first of all, let me go back to your mentor that made you do the technology on your own. First of all, I want to say to that, I think that's real powerful. And I think that's why people like me and you and other people in our field and just good people matter, because sometimes, like a lot of times, we're underrepresented in a lot of spaces. And we'll get to that in this space too later. I'm going to ask you a little bit about that. But just in general, Black women are underrepresented in a lot of spaces.
Right.
So I think it's really important when we are in these spaces for us to have a responsibility. To me, it's a duty. It's a duty that we have to do our best to provide, you know, an environment for these other women who are trying to learn and come up. That first of all, we're representation because we're in this position. Second of all, if it's a position of power, we have the power sometimes to make or break people. And I think some people get in these positions and they let that power get to their head and they use it in a negative way. And working in corporate and working in like in corporate America, if you will, it's so vicious. And I see a lot of us breaking each other down that are lower. So I think it's important that you had a mentor like that, someone that looked like you, someone that challenged you, and didn't allow you to make excuses
Mm-hmm.
for not being able to do something. How do you feel about that representation, um,
I
and
wish we
how we have to pull
had
each
time.
other up?
I wish we had time to take this conversation because there's a story behind that that's really graphic. Some people will be turned off, but it's really real. But Shauna, she pushed us because she was one of those Black women who didn't trust and didn't care for Black women.
Mm,
And so I
see,
say us, there's another girlfriend of mine. Two of us were in Colombia at the same time taking these classes. And at the same time, we both had life-changing events happen. And we missed class on the same day.
mm,
We came back to class. It was crazy because her grandmother died and I was in the hospital miscarrying, right?
mm.
And she thought we were playing games
Like hanging out together somewhere.
or just slacking off. And so when we came to
Hmm.
class, she was like, yeah, always these Black women, always got a story, always got something to say, always. Meanwhile, she's looking at the Beckys and she's like, oh my God, Brenda, did you put like highlights in your hair? I'm like, how's she noticing Brenda highlights? And we got some serious ish going on in life. but she noticed in Brenda highlights. And
Right.
I was so mad because she gave so much grace to them and did not trust what we were saying. It came to the point where, because I was at the hospital and I was missing class, and I am so frantic about missing this class. And I'm looking at the doctor and I'm like, I need to go. Like, I need you to take this IV out of my hand so I can get to school. Because you
Mm.
don't understand the professor that I have and what I'm up against. And so I'm crying, and he's like, well, Miss Leveine, why are you crying? I'm like, because y'all don't know what y'all doing. Y'all have all these doctors coming and poking and prodding and looking, and you ain't giving me any solutions. I need to get to class.
Hmm.
And so he's like, all right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you on watch, and I need you to come every day so that I can monitor to see that, you don't rupture your ovary, your fallopian tube. And I'm like, okay,
Hmm.
cool, let's do that. So he lets me go and puts me on these pills so that I can kind of miscarry naturally because it was stuck. I was having an ectopic pregnancy.
Mm.
And I'm a phone company worker. I'm a cable splicing technician at this time. So I am outside on a roof in the sun. And I have class that same day. And I'm coming down the ladder, coming down, and I feel a gush of something just
Hmm.
come down. And I'm wearing a lot of pads and stuff. So I already know what it is.
Hmm.
Want to go into the bathroom because I'm working with a bunch of men. Of course, they have a female's bathroom, but they have like at least three other females in the gang in our particular office. I kept that on me the whole night. I basically had the miscarriage and I'm walking with it. And
Hmm.
I hopped in my car and went to work and went to school that night and sat through class for 4 hours just so that I would not have this woman criticize and think that I was wasting time or that I was a major screw up. And so when you say like how it was, like we're cool, but it's still a traumatizing event what we do to each other because she gave
Yes.
other women so much grace, and here I am trying to tell you that no, this is a real life event, and I'm here walking with a miscarriage in my pants and have to
I'm so sorry, Jazz.
do that.
I'm so sorry you went through that experience.
But thank you. I mean, I can tell it
Hmm.
now because it's just like, but that's what we do to each other as Black women.
Hmm.
That's what we do. And so if she
Hmm.
heard it now, she'd be like, oh, girl, please. And you're better for it now. And she'll make a joke about it. And we laugh. And I don't hold grudges or anything. It's made me stronger. But that's what it was having a mentor as a Black woman who did not trust other Black women.
And that's the problem. And, and that's why I created Queens Up. And I'm very authentic in that premise. I take it very seriously. As someone who grew up in a predominantly white environment, and dealing with a lot of different microaggressions and different things like that, I take it upon myself, in my position, to make sure, any Black women, not under me, not that way, but
Mm,
like lower on a lower scale on the career ladder.
right.
Um, when they come to me for help, I'm right there.
Me
I'm
too.
showing them how to do the dashboard.
Me too.
I'm teaching them the report. I want them to be self-sufficient. I'm always here for questions, and that's the way we're supposed to treat each other. So, that's that reason, which you just said, Jazz, is why I created Queens Up. That's the reason we need it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason we need it. And I think, if more of us could heal ourselves and get out of our own way,
Yep.
then we would be, more obliged to see the beauty in others.
I agree. Queens up to that. Thank you.
Queens up to that. Queens up to that. So, and then, okay, so we went off on that. So now let me go off on another little quick thing.
Yes.
So in the book, first of all, like when you were throwing your parties and stuff, I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, Jazz is like Carrie Bradshaw. It's like, to me, it's like the Black Sex in the City. And I'm reading this and I'm like, I love this. I'm like, this could be the Black Sex in the City. Like, we need this on a TV show. So, what inspired you to do those things? What inspired you to have the sister circles and, bring the girlfriends together and try to, like, talk about that? Talk about those things that you
Yeah, I love those because
did.
I had so many girlfriends from different walks of life, and they would all tell me their stories. And I don't like to be that friend that's telling one friend another friend's business and they don't know each other, or even if they do, I don't like the whole back and forth and carrying people's stories. And so I said, let me just
Mhm.
bring them all together and let's talk about them and talk about ourselves with each other, because we're all going through similar issues. So why don't we come together and heal and share our stories? I said, let me make myself be the focal point. Like, I'll tell you all my business. Y'all already know it anyway. So I'll come and I'll be the focal point. I'll share my stories and let everybody come and share theirs. But there has to be food, there has to be alcohol, there has to be music. Because without the alcohol, everybody is like, oh, yes, I'm so prim and proper. My life is perfect. My husband is perfect. Everybody's
Right,
perfect.
right, right. You need that liquor to let the truth
Yes,
out.
and you're like, what? And I told that mother effer that he was not going to get none tonight. And then like,
Yes.
the liquor kicked in. Good. Now we can have a real conversation. But
Right.
it would always, it would be fun. And they loved it. Like, they would always leave like, when are we having the next one? Like, it was just so nice to see us come together and fellowship. And my best friend Troy cater it. Like, it was really a special time. Like, I have to do some more of that. And I'm trying to figure out how I want to frame it. But I really miss those times. It was beautiful.
They seem beautiful. I mean, I read them obviously vicariously through your story. But you know, and as a 20, I have a great appreciation for that, right?
Hmm.
Because you're bringing a group of women together. And I'll say throughout my life, with my experience with my friends, I used to be that friend that tried to do that. I tried to bring friends together, but some of the friends that I had were not with that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? And they didn't, one of my friends was very territorial over me, didn't want me to have no other friends.
Friend,
You know what I'm saying?
but her, right? Hmm.
Yes, but her. And it's so funny. I'm not even going to say the name but it's a similar name to one of your girlfriends that you always argued with. And you probably know who I'm talking about.
Hmm.
Her middle name is that.
Really?
Yes, and her first name also has several R's in it. So it's like she's very possessive over me and stuff like that, and she never wanted other friends to really get involved. So I
Hmm.
would bring us together, but they would be like contention between the
Hmm.
other friends.
Because
So I'm
Lorraine
like,
always causing
yes. Yes. So I was like, I can't do this anymore. So I had to compartmentalize my friends. And that's
trouble.
why when I was reading that you were able to do that, I really loved that. And I was like, wow, I wish I was able to do that with my friends and really bring people together just to show people that, yeah, like we all go through similar things. And some of the things that you went through, the other friend of mine might be able to help you with. But if you're not
Exactly.
open to that, you're not going to receive that. So sometimes it doesn't work.
Hmm.
But I loved it because I love Sex in the City, and I just love the way, I'll just say, like, looking at your story, it just made me really like look up to you in a way, like, wow, like look at all these things that she's done, and bringing the people together, like just everything. It's just amazing, Jazz. Like your story is very amazing, and I know that's not even the whole story. I know you have so many other things that you have done since then, and but just kudos to you for really being able to pull all that stuff together, and put it into a succinct book like that. Very brilliant.
Thank you, Queen. Thank you so much. Yeah, those are good times, girl. Good.
Yeah, yeah. So let me now say, let's
Mhm.
talk about a little bit about now let me ask you before we're going to talk a little bit more about the book, but I do want to talk about the Mastery Institute real quick. So let me pull the banner up. So you're going to be doing this Numerology Mastery Institute.
Yes, yes,
And it's a 4-month course starting
yes,
August 10th. And people can sign up for the course at your website, jazafrodite.com. And all of your links are going to be, they're in the description now. We're going
yes.
to make sure everyone can get a hold of you. Talk about why you wanted to do the Numerology Mastery Institute, and talk about like the certificate and what people can expect from the Institute.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of people were asking me about this a while ago, some years ago, and I wasn't ready to do it because I was hung up on the whole certification aspect. But
Hmm.
then a good friend of mine was like, you know what, it's certified by spirit. And if the spirit is leading you to do this, you need to get behind it. And so I was like, all right. So I said, I'm going to teach everybody everything there is to know about the numbers because
Hmm.
I've been blessed with this knowledge. It makes no sense me keeping it to myself.
Hmm.
And I enjoy teaching it, but I want people not just to learn it, but to demonstrate that they know it. So I have created my competency tracker, another spreadsheet that lists all exactly. I knew you would love the spreadsheet. It has all of the competencies, but it also has all of the sub skill sets that go under each competency. And so when you master like a 3 or a 4, it shows that you are the master of that particular competency. And I'm doing that because I want us to be able to track our own progress. But I
Hmm.
also want people to have a practical part of the class and theory. So every Sunday is the practical, where the students are coming and showing what it is that they've learned based on their assigned subject, because everybody in the class has their assigned subject. So we're not going to analyze ourselves. I want people to do that on their own time.
Hmm.
Sometimes people don't want to really get too deep into what it is that they're going through. And so if we have an assigned subject, it kind of creates a mystery, like how are we going to crack this person's case? I love every
Hmm.
cases and murder mysteries and solving crimes. I love that.
Yes.
And so
I
it's
can tell that through your book too.
the way I wrote
Because
it.
your book is kind
Exactly.
of written that way and kind of like a suspense mystery type of.
Exactly. I love that whole murder mystery kind of trope. And so the class is based on that as well. And so Sundays is the practical, Tuesdays is me actually teaching. And then I have office hours for people who, in case they want to go over things. So it's based like a full college course. And at the
Hmm.
end of it, you will have your full list of competencies showing that you have mastered all, and you're going to get a professional certificate that is going to be beautifully done. I can't wait to issue them. But I'm just excited about the class because once you leave, you'll have a thorough understanding of how to use the numbers in every context. And
Hmm.
you would not be guessing. And so you'll have that ability to use it with astrology, cardology, whatever it is that you choose to use it, whether you want to use it in a professional environment, whether you want to use it in a metaphysical environment, you can apply it to anything. But I guarantee that this class will add value to your life in any capacity that you so choose to use it. And so I'm excited. And there's a special going on. I've extended it until August 3rd. And so there's a special now. If you get in, you're getting in for the special price. Anything after August 3rd, it'll be the full price. So even if you're saying, I want to take this class, but I don't know about the money, just join. Like, I'm not a stickler for sticking to the schedule in terms of payments have to be made. Let's break it down, and we'll work out how you're going to pay it. Like, don't ever let money be an issue to anything that you want to do. There's so many classes that I've taken over the years that I didn't know how, and the money comes. And so once you put your feeling and your intention behind it, everything will flow. But it's really about me teaching and showing and sharing this knowledge and us building community. And so just giving everybody everything that I have. That's the calling, and that's what I want to do.
I think that's great. And you heard her, you guys. There's a special going on right now until August 3rd. So make sure you visit the queens, the empress. You're an empress and a queen. Make
Thank
sure you visit her website at jazafrodite.com so you can sign up for the Mastery Institute. And I will say, don't let money be the issue. If you let money be the issue, you'll still stay stuck wherever you are all the time.
you.
And like Jaz said, the universe will provide for you if you trust in yourself and believe in yourself.
Yep.
So the universe will always provide for you if you're doing that. So let me ask you real quick, Jaz, since we're all about the numbers and we know numbers matter, is there a specific number for you in your life, in your chart, that has shaped your life in a major way?
Mm.
If it is, what is it? And how do you interpret these messages from that number to yourself?
Oh, that's a perfect question. So the number that has made the most difference in my life is the 7.
Mm.
It's the 7 because of that pinnacle lesson, but more so, my name, Jacqueline Noel Levine, is a 1067,
Mm.
16 with a 0 in the middle of it. And every iteration of my name, Jacquie Leveine, Jacquie Noel Levine, however I spell my name, it comes out to a 7 in Pythagorean.
Wow.
Yeah, I can't get away from it.
Even
I'm like, this is purposeful.
if
Like,
you tried, right?
even if I tried, I couldn't. So I'm supposed to be a spiritual educator because the number 7 is a spiritual educator. So that's what I'm here
Mhm.
to do. That number has shaped me because it allowed me to get closer to myself, for me to really truly understand who I was as a person. And oftentimes I would be around people, but I didn't really understand why I want to retreat and sit in the back, and people are like, oh, you're being so stuck up and standoffish. No, that's just the vibration of the 7. I
Yes.
changed my name from Jacquie, Jacquie, to Jacquii. My
A
mother
lot
used
of ones in that name, Miss
a
Jacquie.
lot of ones, 5 ones in a name that has 7 letters.
Mm.
So I changed my name from that because my mother used to spell it IE, not officially, but my name is really Jacqueline. And Spirit told me to change it to II.
Hmm.
Listen, and I went and I got it legally changed, printed it in the newspaper, went through the whole process. And I saw how my life changed. I went from being talkative, gossipy, life of the party, always got a joke going on, dancing, not afraid to sing, to being very reserved in the
Hmm.
back, watching, very sophisticated ear, not really speaking to people much in like a matter of months,
Wow.
because that's how the vibration shifts. And so when
Hmm.
you take on a new name, you have to be very mindful of whether you're ready to take that vibration on. But I love the 7 because, again, it gets me closer to the truth. And that's what I strive for every day, understanding the truth of who I am first and then exposing the truth around us. Because a lot of people are walking around and not seeing things for what they really are. I'm like, wow, how could you not
Hmm.
see that? But everybody's not in the vibration of a 7. Everybody's not a 20 like us, where we pay attention to detail. And so
Right.
understanding the 20 birthday number for sure, and then the 7. Yeah, those 2 numbers are powerful.
Yeah, especially with our 20. I mean, we are here to awaken people to new ideals. I mean, we're here to raise the mental dead.
That's it. That's it.
I mean, that's it. That's what we came here under that vibration to do. So I think that's beautiful, and I just love the way that you have answered that question. Such an insightful answer.
Thank you.
Um, so let me ask you now, as someone who has coached many people into deeper self mastery, what do you notice most often when someone finally like aligns with their core number? Is there a visible shift that you see in them?
When they align with their core numbers,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, there is a visible shift. There's a shift in realization that everything that they've gone through, they couldn't avoid. Like I've had people who I've coached who cried, like, wow, so there is nothing wrong with me. No,
Mm-hmm.
there is nothing wrong with you. Like you're being very true to who you are based on what the numbers say. And a lot of times people figure that they could have changed the course of their life. And it's like, no, not really. You're in alignment with what has happened, and you should be accepting of that, which goes back to our conversation earlier. Like, there's really no reason to be ashamed of our life experiences. And so it makes a shift in that I understand where I've come from, and now I have the knowledge to move forward and use these numbers in a way that I can maximize my life and change the frequencies, use the energy to shift and maneuver and just create the reality that I really want. Oftentimes we think that we have to surrender to these frequencies, but these frequencies are here for us to use and manipulate however we choose. We are the magicians, and we are, what could I say, the curators of our existence.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So now talk about how do you see the role of numerology and cardology evolving in
Mm,
this modern world, and what trends are you observing?
I love that. So I see it evolving. I would love to see it evolving in a professional landscape. So when we
Hmm.
go to work, instead of taking the Myers-Briggs personality test, just do your numbers and your cards and break it down. Look at a spread and just look at how everybody in the office interacts with each other. Look at the names, how we get along, or are we compatible? Look at the birthday numbers. What are they bringing? What are their intrinsic, innate gifts that they bring to the team? How can
Hmm.
and peer people together to work on projects based on their compatibility? What cycles are we in? Am I going to know that this year you're going to be focused on your home, or are you going to be focused on the job? Like it's all in the numbers. And so just using it in a professional landscape would really change things. Using it in a investigative landscape for sure. And so solving crimes. Something happens in the news. All right,
Yeah.
let's break it down with the numbers. Let's see what happened. Who are these people involved? Let's put the numbers together. Who are the culprits? Really easy to see what's going on with these numbers if people just pay.
Hmm.
And so it's also using it with the families, children, teaching your children these numbers and how to, again, choose your destiny based on your numbers. Okay, you want to be a lawyer today? All right, let's get you a name that has a 1. Or you want to be an actress today? Let's get you a name that has a 3. Like finding different frequencies and ways to use these numbers to become whatever it is that you want to become is that simple. But because they try to keep it from us and make it seem that it's either so difficult or so, I don't want to say demonic because it's not, but like it's something that
But that is the connotation they try to give it or make like taboo.
exactly taboo. I'll say taboo, like make it taboo.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's not. They keep it away from us on purpose so that we won't have this knowledge to become the magicians that we are. So we would not wake up to the powers that we have within. But we can use it in any context to heal. You're in your cycles. Are you in a health cycle? And if you
Mhm.
are, what health ailments are coming out right now that you need to be aware of? So there's so many different ways that we can use it in the future. But I think we just need to use it point blank and
Yes.
period.
Just got to start using it. And it's so funny that you answered it that way, because you answered one of my questions, which was like, how do you see it being used in the future, or how do you see unique applications changing in the future? But you kind of answered that. So I want to ask you now,
Hmm.
being a Black woman in this spiritual space, and it's being a spiritual entrepreneur, if you will,
Thanks.
what have been some of the blessings and challenges of building your empire in an industry that has not always made a space for us?
Interesting. So the blessing is that everything that I have done previous to this has assisted me in this journey. So even if you are working a 9 to 5 and you're saying you want to break out of it, all of those skill sets that you have in this 9 to 5, you can throw into what it is that you're doing now as far as the spiritual work. So nothing goes wasted. That's for
Mhm.
sure. So I was blessed to have the wherewithal to build this business from the ground up. I was blessed to meet people based on my involvement with Lloyd in creating the online courses for him on Udemy, to meet people in other parts of the world who pointed me in this direction because I had
Mhm.
created that class for him, the first one. And a young lady from Australia reached out to me and she's like, I'm on your site because I saw that you helped Lloyd with his class and I want to take lessons from you, but I don't see where I can sign up. She's like, are you a singer or are you a numerologist? I'm like, well, I'm a singer who does numerology. And she
I'm both. I'm multi-talented.
exactly. And she was
Got a
like,
lot of fives in my name. I'm versatile.
all of that.
All that.
And she was like, okay, so what's paying the bills right now? And I was like, the numerology. She's like, okay, so that's what you are.
Yeah.
And through my working with her, teaching her lessons, she started teaching me how to do the copy editing and how to make sure that my site was focused on one and not the other. She's like, you need to have two separate sites. So make this one only for numerology, create another one for your music. And she kind of steered me in this direction. And so I'm grateful that the universe sends me these angels to kind of point me in a direction when I'm not too sure about where I need to be. The parts
Mhm.
that I dislike, and this goes in every field, the competition, the unnecessary backbiting, not
Mhm.
necessarily willing to share platforms or to lift each other up. And because it is a spiritual landscape, it is not as blatant as in your face as it is in a professional environment.
Mhm.
Acts are spiritual. And so, my advice to anybody coming through is if you're going to do this work, make sure that you are spiritually fortified because the enemies are numerous. It makes no
Mhm.
sense you trying to identify who it is because there's too many to count. It doesn't even matter. What matters is that you are strong enough to deal with it because it comes from many different directions in many different ways and ways that you would never even anticipate. Also, what comes with this is that if you are with a partner who is not on the same spiritual wavelength that you are, your relationships can be threatened because you're changing. I have changed. I have evolved. I am not the same person that I was in 2018 when I left my job. I'm so different right now. Every day I wake up, I'm different. Because the
Mhm.
minute that you start interacting with these sciences, you change. The universe starts to enhance the gifts and abilities that you have. And so you become more and more powerful if you're heeding the call. If you're with a partner who is not advancing at the same level, it won't work. And so you have to be willing to let go of the things that no longer serve, embrace the things that do, and just continue on the journey, knowing that you will change every single day. Like this is not
Mhm.
Like who you see yourself as today, you're going to be different tomorrow. And that's just it.
And I almost feel like if you're not different tomorrow, then you're not doing something right.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're supposed to evolve every day. Um, you're supposed to only be in competition with yourself. Um, that's a part of the Queen's Up too, not to keep hammering that, but it is. Don't be in competition with other women or men for that matter. Be in competition with yourself. I mean, try to be better, best your last thing that you did. That's what we should be doing. So not everyone's there yet. So that's why we're here to do some of this work and try to help people see that light, to help them to come to that light and see that there's like we've talked before, all of us have our own unique beauty that we bring to the table. And I'll just say the analogy, like I said before, as women, because I'm a woman, so I'll speak for the women. As a woman, we're all beautiful flowers. Would you say, oh, that rose is ugly because there's a carnation next to it, or because there's a lily or an orchid? All those flowers are beautiful. They all give off different scents. They all do different things to with the atmosphere and nature. They produce different things as far as nurturing us and helping us with our food, with the bees collecting the nectar from those flowers and pollinating. So all of us are different flowers. So I would never call a flower ugly. Would
Right.
you?
Never. I
Yeah.
love flowers.
Yeah. So we're all beautiful flowers. So you can't judge others like that. Everyone has a unique gift. I mean, like you said, even within this spiritual practice, like you said, there's a lot of us doing this. Um, and I know you've been doing this a lot longer. So I know you've experienced a lot of that, probably more than I have so far. But I mean, trust me, I've experienced this just even doing BTV. That's why I did Queens Up, because I'm like, yo, that's not me. That's you. You're acting like this. I didn't do anything to you. I barely know you, but I respect you, but you can't respect me. So we need to have Queens Up. We need to understand
Exactly.
our position, our power, and what our own purpose is. And that's why I love numerology, because it tells you what your own purpose is.
Mm-hmm.
Your own purpose isn't the same. My own purpose isn't the same as yours, Jazz, or anyone else.
No, it's true.
Might be similar, but it's not the same. And we all have our different callings. And I love that you said that the clients that you have met like over the years um, teach you something just like you taught them something.
Mm-hmm.
And I really resonate with that because honestly, all the clients that I have had have taught me something. All of them have come to me for a different reason. And to me, a lot of it initially, it's them teaching me about myself through their numbers.
I love that.
Yes. And then not only that, putting me in alignment with people who can help me with that mundane world that I'm so fiercely fighting and dealing with. Just putting me right in alignment with the people who are giving me the correct advice on how to move forward to navigate some of those things that I'm dealing with. So it's like
It's
we're
beautiful.
healing each other through these sciences.
And forming community in the process.
Yes. Yes.
I
So
love
I
that.
think it's brilliant. I think it's beautiful. Everything that you've done, everything that you're continuing to do, and then working with the institute is going to be so great.
It is.
Um, Let me ask you real quick, what do you think is the biggest misconception
Mm-hmm.
about these sciences, about numerology and cardology, and
Astrology.
what are the biggest misconceptions and misunderstandings, and how do you aim to like clarify those things when
Hmm.
they come up?
The biggest misconception is that it's not true or it's not applicable to life.
Hmm.
And I think, well, I know the book that I wrote is proof that it is.
Hmm.
Because that's why I really wanted to ground what I was writing in something that can prove that, yes, this is in fact backed by the numbers and backed by these sciences. Because my book, Knocking from the Inside, would have just been a regular memoir. And we've had so many of those. And I'm like, I have to do something different. Like, what's going to make my book stand out from anybody else's? And I'm like, all right, let's base it on the numbers because the numbers show that what's happening in your life is true to form. And so I'm here to show that everything that we are doing with these sciences can be backed up. It is factual. It is an absolute science. It is true. It is backed by spirit. Even when we have all of the book knowledge that we acquire from our studies and applications, spirit still blesses us with things that come specifically for us. And so each one of us has our own unique expression based on what spirit tells us, because we're not going to get our information back from the powers that were. And so we have to rely on spirit coming to us directly and giving us the gifts and the knowledge that we need. And that's what happens. So the more that we indulge with it is the more that we evolve and we learn new things based on what spirit and the universe has given and guided us. And so I'm grateful because it's just this science has opened me up in ways that I never really thought I would be open. It's made me vulnerable in ways that I never was before. To write this book and tell everything as it was and how it happened and all the betrayals and all of the coming out of it, and then creating this spiritual forensic report. And there's just so much that came out of it, but the numbers are
Mhm.
powerful. Like, I can't even express. Like, we get so geeked out about it, and people are like, "Oh, why
We
are they so
we
excited
do.
about these numbers?" But it's until you interact with it and you see that, wow, like this is the reason why such and such behaves this way, or this is why I went through this particular event at this time. Like when you see it on paper, it's like it blows your mind away. Like if I had known this when I was a child, I would have been so much further along because I would have used this to my advantage to do exactly what I wanted. But everything happens in due time and everything happens the way it's supposed to. But there's no regrets, but we
Mhm.
definitely can move forward with the knowledge that we can enable others to use it to maximize their own destinies.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Queen. I think you said that beautifully. So I want to just, I know we're over the hour mark, so I just have a couple more things I want to talk about. Um, I want you to right now a little bit just talk about your journey with making this project. I really, first of all, I love this cover art. I think
Thank you.
it's beautiful. I love Woman of Words. I have been listening to this project all day, um,
Mm,
and it's a beautiful project, Jazz. You have a beautiful voice. It almost sounds like an angel
really?
voice.
The first time I
It's
heard that. Thank you.
it's beautiful, and I don't say that lightly. It's a beautiful voice. Um, so talk about a little bit about the project. And I know you said you had some trouble kind of getting yourself started with that. So just talk about that struggle a little bit and what kind of got you over the edge to really just go forward with everything.
Mm. So that project was produced by my vocal coach, Faye Victor, who is a jazz singer, a composer, and a free improvisational jazz singer. She does a lot of free stuff. And I put that together because I figured that I was at the point in my singing journey that I thought, oh, I can put an album out, not really realizing how difficult it is. Like to record in a studio is so different than being on stage in front of people. Because on a stage, you're interacting with people, you're getting their energy, they're feeding you, you're feeding them. In a
Hmm.
booth, it's just you in a booth, and everybody else is in a space. It just feels doesn't feel organic, and I didn't really have much to feed off of, and I was nervous, and it was a lot going on, and I was very self-conscious, like, wow, this is staying on the wax. Like once it's done, it's done. Even though it's digital, you can always go back and make punch-ins and all that other stuff, but it's just the whole mind trip of it. So first of all, recording a jazz album is not easy because jazz musicians are working musicians. So to get them in one space at one time is
Difficult.
is a feat, right? So if you can get them for 2 days and they're locked in, like you got to show up in those 2 days and you got to lock in, right?
Right.
So the first day, 4 hours each day, or maybe I think it was 8 the first time and 4 the second time. Either way, it wasn't a lot of time. And normally, for people to record a jazz album, they have performed this in different parts of the world, all over, see what works, and they're able to get into the studio and knock it out. I didn't have that luxury. And so we got together, we, re- we rehearsed one day, got into the studio the next day, and laid it down. And I was nervous. I was nervous. The songs that I pick are technically difficult.
Yes, I can say that just by listening to them.
They're
And I'm not like a technical music person, but I can tell they're intricate.
very difficult. I wrote the
Hmm.
lyrics to my own songs, And so I would listen to the instrumental and write lyrics to them, just so I just be different, because I hate these standards as they're written because they're just so infantile. Like, what are we talking about? Like, let's talk about some real shit. And so I
Mm-hmm.
write my own lyrics. And so being vulnerable in that takes time. And so for the first time, I went in and I was sick because I was just in my head. So I made myself sick. And so a lot of
Mm-hmm.
the songs had to be done over. So I had to record, go back in the studio again and record it. So the band was able to lay their track down, and I stripped all of my vocals away and I re-recorded my vocals a second time. And so I was grateful for that. And so
Mm-hmm.
that project took 3 days.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be able to tell that.
3 days, which is crazy. But like I was
Mm-hmm.
telling you earlier, if I got into the studio now, I know I would just smooth, like just go through it like with no problem, because I'm just in that zone, locked in. Singing is not easy. And so anybody who wants to be a professional singer, it is not an easy thing. To learn how to use your body and to manipulate sound with your body is not easy. People think when we sing, you just open up your mouth and it's just like a no. You have to make sure that you're properly. Some people don't warm up. I need to warm up. I need to have my
Mm-hmm.
right tea. I need to eat. I can't sing on an empty stomach, because when you're doing all that stomach movement, because you have to support with your stomach, you hear the growling. Like, there's a lot that goes on in your body. If you're sick, you can't sing. Depending if it's a chest cold, if it's a head cold, you can get through it. Like, there's so many things to work out. If I'm not
Mm-hmm.
cycling on a regular basis, I don't have stamina. So I have to cycle all the time to keep my
Mm-hmm.
stamina up. I have to run up and down the train stairs in the city to keep my stamina up. Like, I have so many things I have to think about before I sing. And so it's a lot that goes into it. I'm proud of it because it's my first work. I came out the gate swinging with some heavy tunes that I could still perform, and people are like, "You wrote the lyrics to this?" And I'm like, "I sure did." And so I'm proud of it, but I don't share it much because I'm still very, yeah, I'm still very self-conscious, I should
Well,
say.
you're here on Queen Bee's platform, and around here, Queens is up, and I listen to it, so I love it, um,
Thank you.
and so I'm sharing it. And if you guys want to listen in on it, you can go visit it. I put the link to her Bandcamp
Yeah, and it's
in the
free.
chat.
So this,
And it's a very, very beautiful sounding album. And I think it's the type of album I had it on all day and I was just doing things around the house. And I wanted to really listen to it, just really to get myself in tune with you, to
mm,
get prepared to interview with you. So I just spent the afternoon listening to it. And I had already read the book, and that was like probably like 5 months ago. So I was skimming through the book and just kind
right.
of refamiliarizing myself with everything. Let me ask you real quick about one other thing about the book that I forgot to
Yeah.
ask. Um, did you change the names of the people in there, or everyone's names correct?
Yes, everybody's name is changed except if you have like a business that I wanted to promote. So my vocal coach's name is the same because I want people to go support her. Karen from the apothecary up the street, she is the same. People follow her on Instagram. So most of the people's names are changed because I was going to keep everybody's names as is, but they were like, Jackie, you're going to get sued. Like, if you put his real name in the book, you're going to get sued. And I was like, all right, I'll change
Wow.
it. So that's why I call him Siete.
Is siete, because doesn't siete mean seven in
He's a seven.
Spanish?
That's his life path number. He's a seven. So he's learning
Yes,
to be a 7.
yes. So one more thing about the book, Jazz, that I have to ask, because I'll tell you, when I got through with the book, I was like, I'm gonna get Jazz. I'm like, why is she in this book like this? Because I'm on the edge of my daggone seat.
Right? Waiting to see what's going to happen.
What's happening? Like, what is going on? What is happening next? So I say that to say, is there a follow up? Is there going to be a sequel?
That's a good question. It should be. I've gone through a lot of things. It's
Yes.
a lot of things. The second part will be a lot of me. Won't be so many other characters because a lot of folks
Mhm.
have dropped off based on the path that I've chosen. But yeah, definitely could be. It'll be interesting in its own right going through all these spiritual ups and downs. It has not been easy. So yes, thank you for that.
Yeah. So I
That
had
book.
to ask that because I'm telling you, in our study group, and we all read the book in the book club.
I love that.
Everyone was like, we came back. We was like, why did Jazz do that to us? We're like, "What?" even know you was that good back then. I'm like, I want to ask her. I'm like, I want to, inbox her and
I
say,
love
Jazz,
that because
what happened? Like, what's going on? Like,
I didn't know what was happening. I just left it right as my life ended right there. I was like, all right, I don't know what's happening now. I'm just going to have to live and let y'all know.
so I think, I'm glad that we got the answer from you. And then I really think that, again, that means that there's a sequel. And I think it's brilliant that you do a sequel and it picks up from there. And then it is you, because now this is you taking your power back.
Right.
And now you're going on your spiritual journey to get to everywhere where you're at now. So I think, the number one, this was already a hit. Why not do a sequel?
I'll make a note. Things to do.
Yeah.
It's interesting you say that because I was getting ready to do a fictional book, but I see that this may need to take precedence over the fictional book.
I think so, Queen, because it's brilliant work, and people, I know anybody that read it, they feel the same way that I feel, and the whole book club, because we all felt that. We're like, oh, we need more. Like, well, what is going on? Like, why would she do this to us? Like I felt almost like I was going through withdrawal or grief because the book was over, and I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen. What's going to happen next? Like, I want to know what happens next in
Okay,
this
well,
woman's
that's a
life.
good thing. It's keeping you on the
Yes,
edge. Like, all right, okay,
yes,
perfect.
ma'am.
Thank you for the
Yes, ma'am.
assignment.
You are welcome, ma'am. So one more thing before we get out of here, I would be amiss not to bring up these books. Um, Numbers Decoded, Cards Unfolded, and Numbers Spelt, Cards Dealt. So
Mm-hmm.
talk a little bit about your books, and your process of writing these books, why you wrote the books, and talk about how you incorporate, like, everything that you do really is incorporated from your book. So just go ahead, talk about your books, Queen.
Thank you. So, Numbers Decoded Cards Unfolded is the book that teaches you numerology and cardology. It is the beginning, the first entryway into the book. And it's interesting because when I was writing the first book, Knocking from the Inside, I was in a restaurant writing a letter to get an agent, a query letter, and a mother and daughter came into the restaurant. And I was like, let me just show them this letter to see if they would like it if they were an agent, because they were having such a smart conversation. And I'm like, they would be people I can speak to. And I gave them my phone and they read it and they were like, oh, this book sounds interesting. And the mother was like, you're going to have to write a numerology book to follow up with it, right? And I was like, no, I won't. She's like, I think you should, because people that want to know the numbers based on what you've written in your life, they probably would want to learn how to do numerology. And so then I met Lloyd and he said the same thing, like, you're going to have to write a numerology book. And he's always telling everybody, you got to write a numerology book.
That Lloyd,
Right? He's like,
he got everybody writing a numerology book.
I'm like, all right, Lloyd.
We're grateful, Lloyd. We love you.
Like, all right, I'll write it. And so when I started teaching my classes, I would give them all these handouts. And they're like, Jacquie, we can't keep printing out all these handouts. Put it in a book. And so that's what I did. I put everything in a book and I repurposed it and wrote it as it's a textbook. And so it follows, gives you step by step, play by play activities and exercises and tips and everything in it. And so it teaches both. The first one is the beginning and the second one is where I left off. And it does give you the complete ending of all of it, how to put it together. So numbers, spelt, cards, dealt. Now that you have the cards in your hand, how are we using these numbers to spell? Because we have so many meanings with the letters of the numerology, and then the cardology, how do we put the cards together and tell the story? So that's what happens for the second one.
Brilliant, brilliant, Queen. Let me ask you, what do you prefer, or do you just use both? Do you prefer Pythagorean or Chaldean?
I use both.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know everything there is to know on both sides.
Spoken like a true 20. Spoken like a true 20. And it's so funny because I'm like, I gotta pick one. I'm like, well, why do I have to pick one? I don't have to pick one.
Not picking anything. I want to
Yeah, like, because
both.
both of them, it just gives you a really full picture.
It does.
You get the full picture, and where you may not see something in one, you'll see it in the other, and then it'll explain things, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Very well
definitely.
put. Exactly.
Definitely. So I think that's all I have, Queen. I mean, we went through a lot. We got a lot accomplished. So what I want to do real quick before we get out of here, let's check in with the Universal Supreme.
Yes.
We have a lot of people in the chat watching. So I'm just going to run through the comments. Queen D is here with us. Queen's up to you, Queen D. Thank you so much for being here, Queen.
Yep.
We have LJ. Peace to you, Queen. I think she's actually in South America right now.
Oh, thank you for
Yeah.
joining from South
Yeah, she's a
America.
number 3 and she speaks a whole bunch of languages.
Ah, it makes sense
Yeah.
with the 3.
Yeah. Peace to you, Queen. Thank you so much for tuning in. Peace to GL. Peace to you, Queens Up. Thank you so much for being here.
Queens
Queen
up.
D says salute to you, Jazz.
Thank you, Queen D. Peace up. Queens up.
And then we got Doris Smith out here in these Numeralytic streets.
Hi, Doris.
Peace to you, Doris. And then we've got Quintella Understanding, Grand Evening Jazz, Queen B, and Chat. Unconditional love, light, and beautiful spirit to you as well, ma'am.
Beautiful spirit to you too, Quintella Understanding. So nice to see you here as well.
Yes, thank you, Queen. We got Queen Kanaya Shasu, one of our sponsors.
Yes, Kanaya. Yeah, she was dope on the show.
Oh yeah, she had us going there. So we have everyone interacting here. Jazz is always so deep. She loves it.
Thank
Yes.
you, Queen D. My sister's here too, Tisha.
Tish, that's your sister. Okay, we got I can't
Jenny.
pronounce that. Oh,
And
is that other zodiac sign, that Ophiuchus?
Ophiuchus, yes, he's a Sag,
Ophiuchus.
so I guess he's trying to be both. Hey, Jenny. I love you for real too.
Queen said I use it for my birth name, but others use the B, so I had to use the D instead. Oh, so I know she might be talking to somebody in the audience. We had Stephen, the Jupiterian, here. He said he loves this. Thank you, Stephen, for tuning in with us.
Yes.
And
And
then
thank you,
let's
Stephen,
see.
for your grace with my story with the Black mentor. I know it was a lot, but
Yeah, that's okay. Because you know what, Queen? I think what it is too, this stuff universal. So one thing about us and people tuning into us, you're going to have to listen to universal things that may not occur in your own community and your own culture. But this is how we get to learn each other's cultures. We get to learn more about each other. And that helps us to bridge a better understanding and a better acceptance of those differences in each other. So I think anyone tune into any of this stuff that we do, they understand, you know, they
yeah,
understand. They might not fully understand it, but I think they understand the dynamic, and I think that they're appreciative of it and they're appreciative to hear how we kind of navigate through these things. So I
right.
think it's all good.
I agree.
Cosmic Sunflower, peace, Queen.
Hi, Cosmic Sunflower. Yes, it is written.
Yes, it is written.
Is a
Going back and looking at spreads of a specific year. Yep. Cardology is amazing. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Salute King. She's talking to Stephen. So let's see. Let's get down here and see what's going on. She said it's the challenges in life that help us become better people. Yes, it is.
true.
And then we had people crying. We didn't cry. I'm glad me and you didn't cry.
I know.
Listen, we're doing good because I could have cried.
I know, because when I saw you live, I was like, oh, my girl, she's
Oh my God.
real
I
too.
was so emotional that
You
day.
were.
I really was, but
But it was
that
beautiful because you were unveiling yourself.
yes. And what was even more beautiful about that time frame was I actually had then done some numerology on myself, where I went back into my past.
Mm.
And I seen a lot of things where my road went south,
Mm-hmm.
and it really just it kind of like automatically healed me, because I'm like, hey, you were a child.
Right.
This was not your fault. Stop blaming yourself and move on.
Not blaming
Stop
it.
it. Stop blaming yourself because you were a child. So we got to understand, and we got to understand it's about our numbers. So it's
Great.
about what we go through. So yes, and everyone was sad that you had to experience that, when you had to deal with that traumatizing experience.
Mm-hmm.
And Stephen said his full birth name, numerology of my full birth name is interesting, Stephen Anthony Schatz. And then he said his full birth name is a 90. All right, Mr. Humanitarian.
I love that 90 number of completion ending. Spiritual teacher, motivator,
Mm-hmm.
inspirational leader.
Yeah. You're here for the universe, not for your personal self, brother.
Your life is not your own.
It's not your own, so get used to it.
Just said,
Tisha, this
I'm
is your
here.
fam, I think.
Yes.
Some of your folks. She said, I'm here. Yep, she said that part, Jazz. And that's why I love watching you all, Mr. Lloyd, Mr. Eric, Kimberly, etc., because you're all about absolutely. We
Exactly.
don't do that here. We don't do that here. You all have embodied what it truly means to be of an abundance mentality. Absolutely. That's what we're aiming for. And then we got our girl, Shawan West. She's a
Yeah.
fellow Astro-Numerologist.
Queens up, Shawan.
Yep, I'm waiting to get her on the channel. She's going to be coming on maybe toward the end of the year. So I'm looking forward to that. And Tisha said no regrets. And Shawan was in the book club with us. So she was in the book club reading this, and she's saying the sequel would be dope.
It's coming.
Now you got,
Now that you ladies
listen,
have given me the assignment, it is coming.
yes, you're on assignment now. You're on assignment now. Amazing. I read the book in less than 24 hours. You know what, Tisha? I could have done that too, but I had pesky stuff to do in the real world. So I had to put the book down, and I was really upset about it because I was like, I gotta get back. Every day I was like, I gotta get back in that book. I gotta get back in that book. And then when I finally got back in the book, I was like, oh, I'm back in the book. I'm like, oh, I am so happy. So yes, ma'am. Yes, 24 hours. Leslie Brown, peace and love to you, Queen. Love you, Queen. Thank you
Yes.
for supporting me always. She was one of the first people to ever support me in my numerology
Mm,
journey. So I am very grateful to her.
thank you.
Peace and love. This was very heartfelt. Love the show, Queen and Jazz.
Thank you so much, Leslie. So glad you are here.
Tisha giving her heart like her last name.
Yep.
And Quintella, she has been working on her numbers through this week, and her full name is 109. I am still trying to learn, so I don't really understand what the 109 means, just the individual numbers. Quintella, I'm just going to put this out there. I think you would be a perfect candidate to sign up with Jazz's mastery course. Sign up with Jazz, and then, you're always here supporting all of us. You seem to have a really good understanding of these sciences.
Yep.
So step out on faith, sign up for the course, and then you get to know what your own name means. And then you can look at that yourself, and then you can help others around you as well, just like we're doing. How's
Ashe.
that sound?
Ashe.
Ashe. Ashe. So I want to really, honestly, Jazz, I want to thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for coming on the
You.
platform.
Thank you so much for being on this beautiful platform.
Oh, thank you. I hope you really have enjoyed yourself.
Yeah.
I hope we did you justice, and we got everything that you wanted to get out there.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys want to sign up for Jazz's course for her Mastery Institute, it's not just a course, it is a full blown syllabus with like a full college course.
Yep.
So you're
Certified.
in a semester of college when you do this. It's a commitment.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure you are committed. You can reach her at jazafrodite.com.
Yep.
Her Bandcamp, if you want to hear that beautiful album, Woman of Words, is JackieLeveine.bandcamp.com. Her IG is at Jaz Afrodite. She's on X at Jaz Afrodite. And her Cash App is $JazAphrodite.com. So if you will, go ahead and bless the Queen on her Cash App, or sign up for her Mastery Institute, or go purchase some of her books. And I'm going to get you out of here, Jazz, real quick. But before we do, I
Okay.
do just want to show this real quick. So let me pull this on the screen, and I won't talk while I'm sharing it because, StreamYard, when you try to share and talk, it don't go well.
There's a lot going on with StreamYard sometimes. It's too
A
many
lot.
buttons, too many screens.
All right. Too many buttons, too many screens, and all that. So this is Jazz's website, which I love your website. Let me take that off. And you guys can come on here. And I like this because she has, oops, I'm on the wrong thing. Her shop. Remember that she does do the precious metals, and this will help align you with your frequency. You
Mm-hmm.
can get your number, you can get the gemstones in it. It will be the
Yep.
gemstone of your zodiac, not your birth month.
Yep.
You can get it without the gemstones if you want. You
Yes,
can
you can.
purchase all her books here, right?
Yep.
Okay, so this is where you come to purchase things with Jazz, and this is her website. It's a beautiful website.
Thank
You
you.
can be a part of her tribe. I joined her tribe, and she sent me a beautiful message
Yes.
about me, about ending off the 7 month and entering the 8 month and all that kind of stuff. So she's really engaged with her clientele. And she's going to be there to answer any questions that you have for her. So her courses are here. You can buy her books up here. So make sure you guys come to this website, and you bless the Queen. All right. So I'm going to stop sharing this now. Anything you want to say, Jazz, before we depart?
I just want to thank you, Queen Bee, for having such a beautiful platform. I know we had our conversation prior to. It just feels like we've known each other, and we have. Like, this is our second coming. This is not the first time that we've met, but it's just a beautiful, nurturing side of all, and all the love is felt and the support. So I'm grateful that you asked me to come on, and I am just honored that you are sharing everything that I've done and celebrating me as well. So thank you so much, Queen. I'm truly honored and touched, and I feel the love tonight. So I'm grateful.
Well, good. I'm glad you feel the love because the love is there. And like you said, this isn't our first go around. And it won't be our last. There's so much more I see us doing in the future together. And that I hope to see us doing, and I know we will do. And I'm really just grateful for you, for your journey, for everything that you've done. You really have paved the way for a lot of us to come up in this and be comfortable within ourselves to
Mhm.
express ourselves, even down to the book, to the raw honesty and truth that you give there. It really gives us inspiration and hope to tell our story in a truthful way. And don't be afraid of it. It's nothing to be afraid of. We're all human beings. No one enters this earth as a perfect person. We're all striving for that perfection, and none of us actually obtain perfection.
Yes, exactly.
Um, so we just do our best. We put our best foot forward, and that's how we get by. So I just really want to thank you for everything that you've done, and I'm just so honored for you to be here, because I do think you're very brilliant. And again, you guys make sure you are supporting jazafrodite.com. Okay, you see all of her wonderful books up here. Her album cover is up here. So make sure you are supporting this queen, and make sure you sign up for this Mastery Institute. Okay. And with that being said, I want to thank you so much, Jazz, for being here. I want to say queens and kings up to the nation. And also, before we get out of here, Jazz, you sit up here with me. Let's get the housekeeping done. And then I'll just go ahead and end the show. Guys, just to let you know that the show has been brought to you by the Unread Book Review by Nick and Rue,
Hmm.
2:30 every other Saturday. I don't believe they're on this Saturday. They were on last Saturday. But you can go on at Mr. Westbrook's class and catch the older reviews, and also go on Mr. Westbrook class because he also is an astro-numerologist, and
Yes.
he does have astro-numerology related videos up there. He just did a breakdown on August, and he's a professor, so he's very
Thorough.
poignant. Yeah, very powerful, and he's very poignant. And what I love about what he does, he always brings that professor teacher hat to his readings. So he's always challenging you and giving you questions to reflect and to look at, as a professor would do. So I really love the way that he breaks things down. Very thorough brother. So make sure you're following him, and make sure you're supporting him, liking things, and sharing his platform. Other his cohort, Rue, is Ma Wuliza at 4610 on YouTube, and also on Instagram. And then we have the Shasi experience with our great astro-numerology queen.
And
She
Maya.
is the sound healing architect, Kanaya Shasu. Make sure you're following her on all social media platforms. We have the brilliant sister, LaPortia
Mm.
Cooper. She was just on Lloyd's show the other day. She was
Was
on my platform earlier this season,
and
early in the month. She broke down the Sirius Star in July 4th. She's a brilliant queen, wears a lot of hats, just like Jazz does. And she's got the Soul Card Studio. She's not here to impress your mind, rather to awaken your soul. So go visit her for 50% off using the word decode at soulcardstudios.com. Again, if you missed this today, make sure you go check out the August Astro-Numerology forecast, where we do your up cycle forecast, the universal and personal month cycle, and you get your personal energy factor, which is also known as your first pinnacle. So there's a lot of that goes into that. And then for the end of that report, for the planetary report, you are directed to go visit Big E at Big E Astrology to look at his astro weather report. And keep in mind that he has the Leo birth chart sell out right now for Leo season. And if you're not already, please join his Knowledge is Love tribe. It's a great place to be. A lot of different information going on in there, and sharing knowledge and love. And again, uh, the beautiful author, educator, numerologist, cardologist, spiritual coach, spiritual educator, um, queen, Empress of Numerology, Jaz Afrodite. She's presenting her Numerology Mastery Institute starting August 10th. There is a special through August 3rd, so make sure you're reaching out to the queen to get that handled. I think I covered everything.
You have.
All right. So I want to say, Pete, go ahead, Jaz.
If we can have more men join these classes, it'll be great. So, like, we really need the men to come through and represent. Like, we have a few, but I'm calling all the men to come through in this Mastery Institute and get your numbers up, please.
All right, you heard the Empress herself. She says she needs those kings up to get in this course. Let me tell you something, kings. You are needed in this. Just like I just talked about Nick, he's doing amazing things. Mm-hmm. Our young brothers need us. Okay. The young brothers don't have a lot of resources. They don't have a lot of resources in education. They're looked at very poorly in the educational system with a lot of biases placed on them, which prevents them from being able to tap into those types of resources. So get tapped in with these spiritual resources, because these are the real resources that can help us uplift the next generation of young Black men coming up. And we need your voice to help us do that. So guys, please make sure you join the course. That being said, I want to say peace, love, kings and queens up to the Universal Supreme. I want to thank Jaz Afrodite for being here. I love you, Queen. I honor you. Queens up to you, and thank you. Don't you go anywhere, Jaz. Peace and love to the Universal Supreme. We're out.
Queens up in your hood, because it's essential. Triple the investment, stocks and bonds, build a nest egg. Comfortable life. See